Hey, so early this month I went to Hong Kong for their International Film Festival. In this video I will talk about my experience generally at the film festival, and I will also review the half a dozen films that I got to see. But before that, please consider subscribing because I'll be doing regular videos on niche filmmaking, so please subscribe so you don't miss out on a video. So of course, it should be said that I don't speak Chinese, and despite that, this festival was actually really accessible to me as an English speaker. Every film that wasn't spoken in English had English subtitles, and some of the Q&As were conducted in English. And at the ones that weren't, they actually asked if there were any English speakers, which meant that I was the only one putting my hand up. And in one of them, they even asked me to come down to one of the staffers who was a translator. So I was just sat down at the front with my own translator, so I was really appreciative of the film festival for facilitating that. On the subject of Q&As, the festival featured a number of Q&As which always make film festivals a much more valuable experience. Film festivals are the place where unusual films get to be shown on the big screen. And a lot of these films can be pretty hard to decipher. So having the opportunity to hear about the director's intention behind these kinds of films offers you an opportunity to understand and engage with a film deeper than you would have if the director wasn't there for a Q&A. This is especially important when you see a film from another culture that is very different to yours. Without these kind of Q&As, it's very easy to walk out of a cinema without fully understanding or appreciating what you just saw. And it's easy for us to say that a film is bad just because we didn't understand it. And I'm not sure if I fully agree with that, especially when it comes to a film from a different culture and subtext that we're not fully across. And in that case, you could very easily just say you're not the target audience. But I think limiting yourself to the films that you think you're the target audience for is doing yourself a disservice by not allowing your interests and sensibilities to evolve and open up. In any case, there's a lot of films that if I saw 10 years ago that I've seen more recently, I don't think I'd appreciate them as much as I do now. Anyways, let's jump into the films. Now, the first film I saw at the festival was actually a really special one. It was In the Mood for Love in concert with the Hong Kong Philharmonic Orchestra. In the Mood for Love is one of Hong Kong director Wong Kar-wai's most critically acclaimed films. Released in 2000, it follows two neighbors in 1960s Hong Kong, Mrs. Chen and Mr. Chow, who form a strong and profound bond with each other as they begin to suspect their spouses are having an affair with each other. Now, I've seen this film a few times over the years and I've always appreciated it, but I've never been crazy for it like other people are. But each time I watch it, I do appreciate it just a little bit more. And I've even grown to love it seeing it live with music. And something that struck me this time was just how efficiently the story is told. If it's your first viewing, it might not be apparent, but there is absolutely no fat in the execution of theme and narrative. Every moment is underpinned by some kind of meaning that serves the narrative. As with every Wong Kar-wai film, music plays a very important role in the storytelling of In the Mood for Love. With this screening, the orchestra played the diegetic and non-diegetic music while the film played on screen. As the music took center stage, I was made much more aware of how well Wong Kar-wai uses music in this film. Of course, when the iconic Yumeji theme played, everyone in the audience, myself included, got chills. This is a recurring motif that often plays during scenes with slow motion panning shots as the two leads pass each other by. This encapsulates the poignancy underpinning the whole film, in which two lonely people attempt to navigate a world in which everyone seemingly but themselves is cheating on their spouses. A lot of the initial interactions between Chen and Chow are covered by contemporary pop songs. In these exchanges, they pretend to be completely oblivious to their spouses having affairs. But as the music is suddenly cut silent, the pretending stops. As joyful as these pop songs are, Wong's use of them makes them almost emblematic of a society full of masquerading. In the Mood for Love in concert is being performed across the world, and I know later this year it's coming to Australia. So if you've never seen this film, or it's been a while since you last saw it, then this performance is well worth checking out. Anthony Chen's We Are All Strangers is the final installment in his Growing Up trilogy. 3 films that explore coming of age in Singapore with the same cast of actors. Now, it wasn't until after I saw this film that I actually realized that each film actually centers around the same lead actor at different stages in his upbringing. Firstly, when he's a young child, secondly, when he's a teenager, and then finally in We Are All Strangers, when he is a young man. In We Are All Strangers, Jae's character, Jung-young, finds himself facing adulthood and all the responsibilities that come with that. In particular, the responsibilities that come with being part of a family. These are explored through both his blood and non-blood relations, showing just how profoundly impactful and meaningful the family we're not born with can be. Anthony Chen directs a fantastic ensemble of actors in a very restrained but focused way. Beautiful panning and tilting shots display the diversity of lifestyles and socio-economic statuses that these characters come from in Singapore. From the opulent Marina Bay Sands Hotel to the hawker center that Jung-young's dad works at, Singapore is a multifaceted character here in itself, and Chen finds beauty in the silent and overlooked moments like a bus ride. Now, without going into spoilers, there's one story beat halfway through the film that I felt like we needed to sit with just a little bit more. In my opinion, we need to see and feel more of the emotional fallout from it. And I think if we did, this would have helped us believe some of the more irrational decisions made later on by some of the characters. In any case, this is a well-crafted film that, while it stands on its own, makes me want to visit Anthony Chen's preceding entries in his Growing Up trilogy. What price would you pay to retrieve the remains of your deceased family? A Foggy Tale is a Taiwanese film directed by Yu-Hsun, set in 1950s Taiwan, a period of immense political repression. A young girl from the countryside, Yu, ventures to Taipei in order to retrieve the remains of her executed brother. But along the way, she encounters a number of obstacles and people, some good, bad, and in between. Along her journey, Yue enlists the help of a rickshaw driver, Chow Kung-dao. While they have lots of fun chemistry together, Kung-dao is a fantastic exploration of a morally ambiguous character in a morally ambiguous world. And he's well portrayed by Hong Kong actor Will Orr. A Foggy Tale is an exceptionally well-written film, particularly with how it juggles and weaves a huge array of characters, themes, and not to mention a roller coaster of emotions. I saw this in a packed-out cinema at the Hong Kong International Film Festival, and not only did it get a lot of laughs, but it actually made quite a few people cry, and it's not too often that a film can do both those things. This historical drama has some really terrific lighting and color grading. Often surrounding elements, you can usually feel the time of day that it's placed in, for example with hard sunlight or warm golden hour tones. In terms of color grading, the skin tones have a really warm and filmic look. All these elements work together to ground the story, pulling you in, as while not based on a specific person's story, it is largely based on real events. A Foggy Tale is a fun but at times confronting historical drama that explores the complexities of human nature. Definitely keep an eye out for this one. Directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by Ed Solomon, The Christophers is a sharp and masterfully created comedy drama about art, legacy, and an unlikely friendship. Laurie, played by Michaela Cole, is hired by the two children of an aging artist, played by Ian McKellen, to forge a series of unfinished paintings in order to increase their inheritance. This is definitely the best script I've seen from Solomon, and as always, Soderbergh meticulously directs and blocks scenes to the absolute minute detail. The Christophers also exceptionally balances tension with humor, particularly with how well McKellen and Cole play off each other in an ever-changing dynamic that is more complicated than it initially seems. Certainly there are a lot of story beats you'll see coming, but some you might not. But this film does keep you on your toes, guessing what the final destination will be, and I honestly found it pretty cathartic. The Christophers is a masterfully painted comedy drama coming out soon, so don't miss it. Gloaming in Loumu, a film by Korean-Chinese director Zhang, begins as Bai arrives in a small regional Chinese town in search of her ex-boyfriend who has recently disappeared. As the film progresses, we learn more about Bai, her ex-boyfriend, and the local inhabitants of this small town. I'd say Gloaming in Loumu is borderline surreal with this real eerie and dreamy undertone to it. This is particularly prominent in the fantastic sound design, which has a lot of recurring motifs, including the sound of a train that doesn't exist. And one moment that really stuck with me was the delayed sound of glass smashing on the floor. Although I wasn't entirely sure what to make of this film, I was lucky enough to attend a screening with a Q&A that followed with the filmmaker Zhang. In this, he explained his intention to make a film about people who are seemingly not moving very far in life, both figuratively and literally. It's about a woman who struggles with alcoholism and the ghosts of her past. She's simultaneously searching for someone else and herself. While I would have loved to have seen Gloaming Loumu embrace surrealism more, I think it's worth a watch if you're after a unique, soul-searching Chinese language film. Now, the last film I saw at the Hong Kong International Film Festival was the Diaries, directed by Raim. Featuring narration taken straight from the diaries of Yasujo, this film chronicles the career and life of the legendary Japanese filmmaker of the 20th century. It uses a fantastic mix of archival photos, videos, interviews, and also scenes from his very own films. It struck me how much of his own life he had actually put into these films, so much so that when viewed in the context of this documentary, Ozu's films begin to feel like documentaries of his own life. If you've never seen or heard of an Ozu film, then this documentary is your sign to change that. Ozu's career spanned from the silent era all the way to the color era by successfully jumping each technological advancement in film. As this documentary explores, he successfully did so by authentically portraying life, its impermanence, and refusal to stagnate. As such, this film remains relevant even today. I think this film is essential viewing for any filmmakers or even just film enthusiasts. It's a wonderful window into the minds of one of the greatest filmmakers who ever lived that intimately lays out his intentions and experiences behind his films. I'd recommend watching at least one of his films before jumping into this. Tokyo Story is a quintessential Ozu film and a fantastic entry point. Or if you want to watch something similar to this, I'd highly recommend Wim Wenders' documentary Tokyo Ga. Part Love Letter to Ozu and part 1980s Tokyo Time Capsule. Anyways, the Diaries is essential viewing for filmmakers. Well, thank you so much for watching. That was my recap of the 2026 Hong Kong International Film Festival. Have you seen any of the films? If so, what did you think? Tell me in the comments. Like and subscribe so you don't miss more regular videos on niche filmmaking just like this one.